Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Doug, and here we are in the summer of 2020. There is no Major League Baseball going on, although camps are starting to open as we head into the 4th of July here, and hopefully there's going to be baseball by the end of this month. But we are in the midst of this global pandemic. We have had staggering job losses and some economic recovery of those jobs as people have returned to work, but certainly there's lots of economic damage here that we're sustaining. But with all this going on, I'm wondering, what exactly should we see in the runaway sales success of fitted and other baseball caps right now? Since this really got going, the pandemic, the economic hits in March, it certainly amplified a trend that I was seeing already. And the big vendors of sports apparel and fitted caps have been running just unbelievable nonstop sales. Most of the time it's 25 or 30% off everything. Other times it's targeted sales, but it's been every single day if you've paid attention to Fanatics, Lids, and others of that type of vendor. Some of the smaller vendors are also adding periodic sales, I would say more frequently than I used to see them, and also for higher percentage discounts, perhaps in advance of feeling the pinch. It's also important to remember that some of the physical stores, like Lids is the foremost example, a lot of those in U.S. states that were affected by restrictive lockdown, they were closed. I mean, just flat out, you couldn't go into them. And I know that Lids had started, for 6 to 9 months now. I think they've been trying to focus on in-store exclusives. They've always done that, but I noticed since the buyout by Fanatics, they've certainly focused on their in-store exclusives, where Lids makes the income from the in-store purchases. I think as some of these stores start to reopen, you're seeing the release of some of those inventories. You just couldn't get them for a while though, and that's probably why a lot of folks started looking online, of course. Obviously, I mentioned there's been tremendous economic damage, incredible amounts of job losses. So there's been a big hit on wages, presumably for a large part of the country. When you've got this lockdown phenomenon happening, you're probably saving some money as well. You're saving on gas money that you might have had to spend getting to work. Maybe you're working from home still. You're certainly saving money from dining and drinking at home, since a lot of our attendance of restaurants and bars has been curtailed for at least the last 3 months or so. Economic damage, to be sure, and there's a lot of pain being felt by a lot of people, but there's also some consolation in the cutback of spending in many phases of our lives. COVID-19, with its effect on the global economy, has disrupted many of the supply chains that created caps. So with New Era using contract manufacturers in many parts of Asia to make the caps that are purchased by consumers, there has been a squeezing of inventory that I have seen. And if you go to some of these large vendors that I mentioned earlier, if you look online, it's pretty remarkable that even something as simple as the on-field or the authentic collection of 5950s, we are really getting to the bottom of the barrel on inventory. You're getting down to kind of last year's Father's Day caps or 2018's 4th of July caps. You know, those are the kinds of things that you're seeing now as many of these sales and the disruption in the supply chain has really combined to reduce inventories greatly at these online vendors. But on the other hand, the main thing that I'm seeing is some of these bespoke cap makers that specialize in either sneaker match or custom 5950s, as I mentioned. They seem to be having no trouble selling out the caps, just like the bigger vendors are selling out of their on-fields. Any of these new custom caps that are coming out seem to sell out very quickly. And I think this is best exemplified by a place like Hat Club, which has for a little while now really staked its name to offering custom 5950s, different colorways, different takes on logos or team graphics and things like that. So it has been amazing to watch how fast their caps sell out. A lot of times they schedule drops for around 11 a.m. Pacific time because they're a West Coast based company. And it's pretty amazing. These caps will all sell out. Sometimes it's a matter of minutes. Sometimes it's a matter of hours. But I would say that from my observations, almost all of these caps sell out eventually in every size. So it used to be that you can always find a 6 and 7/8 hanging out there, but they probably don't make that many of them. Or you could find a 7.5, which is my size, because they had lots of inventory of those in their order. But it's without exception, these things are just gone. And with Hat Club, if you try and get one of these things, it's an unbelievable level of competition and how quickly these things disappear. There's always unhappy customers after one of these drops that say, it's sold out already. How come you didn't get more of this size, etc. So it has been an amazing trend to watch, and especially given the fact that when Hat Club puts one of these custom 5950s on sale, it's almost always priced at $42, sometimes $45 if it's got a side patch or other additional item to it. So when I see caps selling out like this at $42 to $45 a pop, I'm wondering where people are prioritizing their money, especially given the economic conditions that we seem to be seeing unfolding around us for these past few months. So it's been a little baffling to me to see these things go so quickly. I've gotten to the point where I feel like I can't keep up with this phenomenon anymore. And, it's really strange, because when I see a cap that I really do want, Hat Club a couple of weeks ago offered a 2000 reissue of the brick red Astros logo. And I was really interested in that cap. It's one that I don't have, wanted to grab it. I set the reminder on my phone to sit down, make sure I was logged in, 2 p.m. Eastern, ready to buy. I had it in my cart. I was following a checkout procedure. By the time that cleared, it was gone from my cart. I think there's a ton of unhappy customers every time that happens. And I have personally reduced my likelihood to try and compete for those things, because it just seems to always end in disappointment right now. So I'm not even trying during this time period. But that is definitely something that's happening. I've been very surprised by the sustained demand for fitted caps of that nature. So what are we really to make of all this? Personally, I think that as we all kind of got a taste of the lockdown mentality, where it was difficult to leave the house for everything but groceries and things like that, I think there was really a large-scale move to online purchasing. That was happening already, of course. We all know the Amazon phenomenon and buying things online. But I think as more of these things, you couldn't go out, you couldn't get out to stores, physically look at things. I think there was a large-scale movement to online purchasing. I've got many family members that expressed that as we went through the COVID lockdowns. The other thing that I think happens in situations like this is if you see the inventory and if you see things selling out quickly, like the other items that I mentioned, there's a sense that if there's something you've wanted for a little while, or something that you see that catches your eye, you just have that move to, I better get it before it runs out. I better get that thing that I wanted before it's all gone, because then I won't have the chance again. So in some of these cap drops and other things, and I'll talk about that in another video sometime soon, but in some of these, there's just that psychology that, hey, I better get it while the getting's good. There's a great sale on. I'm not going to see this kind of cap again. I'm just going to grab this right now while I have the chance. So I think that's influencing the quick sellouts of these things. It's that feeling of scarcity, like I won't have a shot at getting this again. Now, this also seems to defy my expectations, maybe yours as well, for the economic realities that we're about to be in if we're not feeling it already. There's federal support for unemployment benefits that have added to the state unemployment benefits that some people are getting. So we might not be feeling the full effects of this pandemic for another month or so. But I wonder about the effect that will have on disposable income, whether we'll continue to see this kind of sales of things right now, at least what I'm seeing with fitted caps and how quickly they sell. So I'm just wondering, is there a time when the economic reality is going to hit this market as well? So anyways, I just wanted to talk about that, share some of my observations. I hope you got something out of that. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.